Amy, just to introduce everyone while we're waiting for other people to join, I'm Tim Connor, I'm the JD convener, and I also teach company law and employment law and other subjects in the course. On my left is Nina Jansen, she's a final year JD student, and also Tanya Sowden, who was speaking earlier. Professor Sowden is the Dean and Head of School for the Law School. The Juris Doctor program is matched with the Graduate Diploma in Legal Practice, and this is the main thing that really separates us from other law programs. In almost all other law schools in Australia, you complete your Juris Doctor first and then you do your practical training. Here at Newcastle, in your second and third year of JD, or if you start with the mid-year entry after your first 6 months with us, you'll be spending time in the legal centre, basically dealing with clients, providing them with legal advice under the supervision of trained solicitors. And you'll also be, so you'll have 105 hours of supervised clinical training in our legal centre, and then additional hours which our legal centre staff will help you arrange at other law firms or with legal counsel in other companies, so that you'll be getting practical experience at the same time as you get your academic legal training with us. And that's a big advantage when competing for jobs, because our graduates finish their 3-year degree completely able to apply to be a solicitor without any further educational training or practical experience required. And it means that our graduates are able to directly compete with other law graduates by pointing out the fact that they have this experience that graduates from no other law school has. We also have very high quality solicitors in our legal centre, so you're working with people who are really on the top of their game. And we have worked frequently on high profile cases in the past, including major anti-discrimination cases that have been very important developments in Australian law, and also important political developments for Newcastle. So a few years back, we ran a really important anti-discrimination case for Indigenous people who were being denied entry to pubs in Newcastle, and that set a really important precedent in a number of ways. For the university as a whole, we're ranked in the top 250 universities in the world on a number of different ranking systems. And we're just about to move into a brand new teaching space in the centre of Newcastle, which you may have seen as a Newcastle resident, if you are both from Newcastle. And it will be a fantastic opportunity for us as teachers to work in state-of-the-art teaching spaces. And it's something we're all really looking forward to. For those of you, I'm not sure whether Yup is from Newcastle or not. Amy would be aware that Newcastle is a fantastic place to live. Has been recently identified as a global smart city by National Geographic magazine. It has fantastic beaches, a great art scene, a great live music scene, and it's close to amazing wineries, national parks, great places for bushwalking, and also very close to Sydney if you need to travel down. So, Yup, I'm not sure whether you are already from Newcastle, but if not, that may be of interest to you. In terms of what your program would be if you join us for the upcoming mid-year entry, the first subject would start in the last week in June. It's a 3-week intensive course, two full days a week for three weeks. And that course is Law 6000, Legal System and Method. This is a new course that was introduced last year for the first time and ran again this year. And the reason we brought it in is because graduate lawyers hit the ground running to a much greater extent than undergraduate law students who do a combined degree, and so sort of gradually build their knowledge on law. For JD students, you're dealing with quite complex legal matter from early in the degree. So we thought it was really important to give people a good grounding through this intensive course to equip you to be able to deal with some of the more challenging course material that comes in the first full semester. And we found this to be a really big, important innovation and something that the JD students have really appreciated. Then in the semester 2, you would be doing 3 subjects: Legal System and Method 2, which will build on what you learned in the first Legal System and Method course, and then a very intense exposure to torts, covering torts Part A and torts Part B in the same semester. And that would lead into next year, when you would start working in the legal centre under the supervision of the solicitors in the legal centre, and also move into some of our other compulsory subjects such as criminal law and contracts. That's all I wanted to cover. I'll hand over now to our Dean and Head of School, Professor Tanya Southern, to give some further insights into the JD program.
I'll just check whether anybody's got any questions in terms of people who are listening in. I'll only say really a few matters. I think you saw the magnificent building that we are moving into, and we actually move into that building in 2.5 weeks, and students will be there in July. So it's really exciting. The teaching spaces are amazing. There is a library on that floor, as well as space for social hangouts for students for over 700 students. It's law and business there, and in the context of the law school, we're not as big as a number of law schools. We've been around for 25 years. We're purposefully a smaller law school, and we maintain a slightly smaller size because of our clinical program, in that we have to make sure that all of our students can have placements and all of them have, I think, a rich and diverse clinical experience. It is quite unusual to have the clinical component embedded within the law school. If you do a JD program with anybody else, you have to do essentially a 6-month top-up at the College of Law, which has not only 6 months in terms of time, but also quite a cost. And I understand from some of our JD students who've come on board with us that that really has been a factor in helping them choose whether or not to study at Newcastle. The teaching rooms, I can say, at New Space are absolutely state of the art, and the cafe lease has been signed. It's going to be Depot Cafe. There you go. There's a bit of news to Nina. Everybody who I tell that to who's a student goes, Depot, they're great. I go to Depot all the time on Darby Street. We're around the corner from this kind of coffee street in Newcastle, and of course we're only minutes from the harbour, and there are some magnificent harbour views, not least of which from our moot court. If you're a keen surfer, you can actually surf and then come to law school, or even go out for a surf at lunchtime, in that it's actually walking distance to the beach. And we have a light rail that's going in at the end of next year, which will make it even closer in terms of moving around. So it's a great place to live. It's not an enormous law school. What we do extremely well. Newcastle is known for its amazing clinical medical program, as well as I think its clinical legal program. So we really focus on embedding an experiential component, which helps with learning. The employers who employ our students, and the employment rates are extremely high amongst all law schools in Australia. Ours is one of the highest. They all say that the Newcastle students, they can actually see a difference. We think they can see a difference because of the teaching that we have in the teaching program, but also definitely because of the clinical program. In any event, if you've got questions, please don't hesitate to contact us after this webinar today. And again, it's probably more useful for you to actually hear from a student who actually has been involved in the program. So I'll hand over to Nina, who's in her 3rd year with the JD program at Newcastle.
Hi, as you heard, I'm Nina. I'm in my final year of the program, so it started back in 2015. I moved to Newcastle up from Sydney. I wanted a different experience. I wanted to study law in a more regional place. What made me choose Newcastle was definitely the practice program. That has been such a highlight of doing this degree. I was looking at universities all across the country, and it was Newcastle Law School that did stand out for me and is the one I wanted to attend. So the practice program, you start that, well, for you guys it'll be starting in 2018, practice program. And that is in getting involved in the legal centre, and it teaches you so many practical skills. And skills client management, file management. From day one, you're interacting with live clients, and that's what really sets it apart. It's daunting, but you learn. And the staff there are amazing. They will help you through it, and they will guide and teach you. And I found as I'm getting into a position where I'm applying for graduate roles and jobs, I've really been able to set myself apart, not only because I have a law degree and it's a Juris Doctorate, but also because I have this practical experience, and I'll be ready to be employed with a practical legal training done without any other further work. So I've worked on a variety of matters in the legal centre, from discrimination, employment, admin law, refugee. Definitely a highlight of the practice program was working very closely on a case. We were able to grant a young woman, she was seeking asylum, and we were successful in her application. That meant her and her children were safe, and we had a nice small celebration, and just the tears of gratitude from that client they'll be with me forever. To know that I've just so early in my career have shaped someone's life is huge. Another highlight of also the degree and with the practice program is to focus in your studies there's a public interest advocacy course, as well as like practical courses. And in one of those, I worked on a judicial review for a client, which was absolutely amazing. Just going through court transcripts, meeting with barristers. It's definitely set me apart. As I'm going for job interviews at the moment, I'm really able to highlight where I've had experiences within the practice program to sell myself. Practice program is definitely.
Can you tell us about the placement that you did, Nina?
Yeah, so your first, one of the things the law school offers is a program known as Law on the Beach. So my first placement hours, which you all have to do, will be at the legal centre. So I did mine over summer. We provide legal advice at Newcastle Beach. It's quite relaxed. It was great. I would recommend it if you can do it. It's very relaxed to be in a beachside setting in your board shorts, giving some legal advice to clients on this hot summer's day. So I've already completed my next lot of hours to go towards my practicing certificate. The law school really assisted me in getting a placement with Legal Aid New South Wales. And that was, again, it was amazing. I got thrown in the deep end there. I was up in court, running around doing documents, given responsibility I never thought I would have. That was just amazing. The law school was so helpful in finding that placement, securing it, and liaising with them. And a lot of people, whereas if you do College of Law, you might not have that assistance in helping you get a placement in a program. So definitely the law school has the connections to help you. Yeah. Probably another thing to note is just with the small class sizes, you really get to know the law school teaching staff and the professors, and they're so approachable and so personable, from responding to emails at all hours and to responding to emails at all hours. The staff are amazing. I'm very happy here. The new court has just opened right next to New Space as well, which is very exciting. It's a brand new court facility just down the road. I'm sure you guys know a bit more.
We do. It's a fabulous facility. And again, it's part of, I think, building a justice precinct that the law school is part of. And so the law school up until now, has been located in a very beautiful bushland setting at Callaghan, which does have quite a few mosquitoes in the summer, to be truthful, but is now moving downtown into what's become known as a justice precinct. And it's a justice precinct because there's a business focus there as well. However, what really dominates the landscape is the new law courts building. And I think the increase in terms of law firms that have also moved into that area. So the law school's positioned in the middle of it, which creates a lot of opportunities, I think, for collaboration into the future as well.
Most definitely.
I might ask Tanya to speak a bit about the growing focus of the law school on dispute resolution. Yeah. So we're very fortunate to have Tanya joining us. She's been with us as Dean for just over a year now. But her background is in alternative dispute resolution. And she's probably if not the sort of lead expert in Australia on that area, certainly one of them. And having Tanya with us, and also Professor Lisa Tui, who's joined us recently, also has a huge amount of expertise in that field. So it's going to be a real focus of our law school moving forward, which is fantastic for law students, because going to court is a last resort. Almost all legal disputes are resolved through negotiation, whether that's directly between solicitors or a process of mediation or conciliation. So having Tanya with us, and also Lisa, we're going to be moving as a law school to really increase the extent to which we bolster student skills in that area, including by introducing new master's courses which JD students will be able to take. So I might ask Tanya to talk about that a little bit.
I'm happy to talk about that. I mean, in essence, we've already had 2 master's programs that have just been approved, which will start next year, as well as the revised Master of Laws. And every single one of the Master of Laws subjects can be done by the JD students. So what that actually means is that there will be additional elective options in terms of subjects next year. And we've kind of focused those in various different stream areas, although the law school's always had a commercial focus on the one hand, and we don't want to lose that commercial focus, because we know many of our students really get jobs in the commercial sector, whether they're in-house lawyers or even within government. But we've got some additional streams which are really interesting for students. One of them builds on our expertise in the environmental law area and in relation to environmental law reform and policy reform. And that program is really possible because we're building into the UN program, which has been established at Newcastle, and will develop even further next year. And essentially what's happening is that the UN, as I understand it, is sending everybody within their region who is interested in climate change issues, refugee displacement, issues that are linked to environmental concerns, to Newcastle to do their training. And so we've actually set up a number of programs in collaboration with the uni-type program that also focus on environmental law, which is becoming more and more important and is a real growth area in terms of legal practice. And that's everything from reform in the environmental area to how we deal with environmental pollution to how we deal with refugee and other issues. But there are many, many issues that we can focus on. We're also focusing on the HR development area, because we're seeing that as an expanding area in terms of legal practice. What we do know is that about 30% of lawyers who are admitted in our state at the moment, New South Wales, end up in in-house roles. So we want to make sure that we're equipping those students to really thrive when they become lawyers in in-house roles. We also know about 20% end up in government. So what we're trying to do with our HR program and our environmental focus is focus on those 2 areas. And then of course we have an expanding and growing dispute resolution area, and Tim's absolutely correct. Very few matters ever end up in litigation. It is a real point of differentiation if you've got advanced skills in negotiation, in mediation, in commercial dispute resolution, in terms of securing those in-house roles as well as in terms of other practice roles.
And the law school really allows you to develop on those skills with the Students' Association rerun competitions, where students can put those skills into practice and the potential to compete against other universities at a national level.
And we do well. I mean, we do extremely well in terms of these competitions. So our students are rapidly becoming known, if not already, as having skills that are really relevant in practice. We're also doing a bit of work around technology and technology in the law and how best to prepare our students for the future. And as part of that, we've actually embedded some technological solutions, online dispute resolution, in the ADR subject just recently. We're also embedding technology in a number of our first, second, third year subjects, so that students have a better sense about what the future of law is likely to look like and how they can really thrive in that new environment. So we're incredibly optimistic about what and where our students go, partly because we know already that they're really valued no matter where they are. I hear from everywhere from the Australian Tax Office, and that takes a number of our students near the Tax Office, and they say, your students are fantastic. when are you sending more of them? If only we could get them from the other states that are like that. And I said, I'll take them from Newcastle. They'll probably travel from the big accounting firms, from the private practice firms, from just such a range of different areas. And of course, we've always had, I think, a focus on employment with the DPP, legal aid, and a range of other bodies. And so some of our students get employed locally in Newcastle. Some of them end up in Sydney. Some of them end up, one of our students is ending up at legal aid in London. So some end up in the top firms, the big firms, I should say, rather than the top firms. And some of them end up, dealing with Indigenous justice issues somewhere else in Australia. So it's a really wide variety of places that the law program takes you. And we like that because we actually think it means that there's a lot of diversity in our cohort. And now with the new masters, we can cater even more effectively for that diversity by offering elective subjects in a really wide range of different areas so that you can craft a degree that's actually going to work for you.
Just to take up what Tanya was saying about the HR area, which is employment law and workers' rights, are part of my teaching area and also part of my research area. In-house counsel, in case people aren't aware, in-house counsel are lawyers who work inside companies and deal with the whole range of matters that company needs dealt with in terms of legal issues. And of course, dealing with companies' employees is a key part of that. So in addition to offering a number of different subjects that deal with different aspects of employment law, so just to cite those, we have an employment law subject which is an overview of employment law. We have a subject which is specifically on workplace health and safety, which is a key part of employment law. And we have an elective which is specifically on equal opportunity law and looking at anti-discrimination legislation.
We're doing all of those subjects this year.
And Nina very wisely is doing all of those subjects. But we also, as part of the practice program, there's an employment law module that students can choose to do, which gives you more sort of practical experience working on employment law matters. So it's possible to specialise in a range of areas here at Newcastle, and employment law and human resources, or HR, is one of those.
I think I'll just highlight probably one of my favourite things about the program, and it's just been the students I study with and the collegiate atmosphere of the law school. Because I started law school and it was daunting, it was confusing, but I just made so many wonderful friends. My cohort is lovely, and I think each year, because it's such a small group, you get to really know everyone you're studying with. And I feel like that really sets it apart, because when I've chatted to friends in larger cohorts, whether it's other degrees or a law degree at a different university, they don't know who they're studying with, they don't know the teachers. And that's just been the best thing. I've made some really great friends since moving to Newcastle and starting law here. And so if you're nervous about a move from anywhere else, if you're nervous about moving to Newcastle from somewhere else and you're not from here, it's a great city and it's full of great people in the law school. It's just been amazing.
It is a big difference in terms of numbers. As a law school dean, I get to meet with all of the other deans around Australia from other universities. And for example, we have under 200 sort of new students per year, which sounds like a lot. But when I compare it to some of the other universities that have 1,300 or more new students per year, I know that the students feel really lost within a cohort that is that size. And they also don't have the advantages with small group teaching, nor do I think do they have advantages of a very consistent teaching product all the way through. And the teaching is really important, and we're small enough and flexible enough to make sure that if an issue emerges or law students say to us, look, we'd really like to do X, Y, Z, we can actually turn around and enable that to happen. So, for example, in second semester just coming up, we had quite a few students who said we really want to do sports law, so we could organise it and do it quickly, which is great. And I think, that's the disadvantage with the big law schools, is they can't actually move swiftly. And again, the students just don't know one another and sometimes can really be left behind, I think, and I feel not as supported. Sorry, Tim, you were going to say something.
I've actually forgotten what I was going to say, Tim. I'll take it back.
Another advantage as well with the way programs are structured, there's an opportunity to do both summer and winter courses, and that can really help like the program, I can be honest and say it is difficult, it's challenging, but I enjoy a challenge. I feel like I've got a grasp on it. The law school has supported me with that. But in order to ease pressure or speed up, fast track your degree a bit, you can take either summer or winter programs. So I'm enrolled in an upcoming winter course.
Which one are you doing?
Equal opportunity.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's another new innovation. Students were saying that it's sometimes difficult to study a full load in a semester, and they didn't want to take years and years to finish their degree, so they would ask whether we could have intensive courses in summer and winter, and Tanya has supported that. So there's a number of electives you can take over the summer or during the winter break in late June to late July, which allows you to either or finish most of your degree a bit more quickly, or else to have a bit more manageable load a reduced load during the full semester, so that you can perhaps work a few more hours and make ends meet.
Yeah, I think that makes a big difference, because we know that there is a fairly large proportion of our students that work part-time, and being able to spread the load like this means that they can. And it's not just summer and winter, because we've got September coming up as well. So in the September break, we've got commercial dispute resolution coming up. And so we're actually spreading or trying to create even more options for students.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. If you are a student who's also working of childcare commitments, the law school is so supportive. Like, I'm balancing working down at the Central Coast, working jobs on campus here, and managing a full-time study load. And so when things are getting a bit crazy at those times of semester, as they always do, the staff have been so approachable and so helpful with directing me with study, or providing an ear, or meeting with me if I've missed a class in order to catch me up. But the law school is very supportive if you do have to work or have to be flexible with children.
I was going to say too, before, when Tanya mentioned there's just under 200 students coming in each year, most of those are LLB students. So specifically with the JD program, we're looking at around 20 for the mid-year entry and 40 to 50 for the entry at the beginning of the year, which allows us to have two JD classes, which means we can retain
3 this year.
Sorry, 3. Oh yeah, if you can count the extra mid-year. So moving forward, we'll be able to retain small classes for the JD program, particularly because we have where our goal is not to have a huge JD cohort, because we would lose some of the things that make us different as a law school. So, yeah, you're still with us. Do you have any questions specifically you'd like to put to us? Anything of particular interest? You could either type it or using the chat function or through your microphone.
Yeah, it sounds like it might be there, but maybe not participating wholly, but that's fine. If you guys are fine, we can wrap this up, and I can let the participants who missed out know that they'll get an email with the recording of this session. And I guess a final reminder with the Juris Doctor that the application closing date is for the 12th of June, and that's for the mid-year intake. So if there's anything you want to leave the rest of the participants with, you're more than welcome to go ahead with that now, and then we'll finish this presentation.
I just wanted to say, if anyone, having listened to the recording of the presentation, has any questions, then please send an email back to grad school to the email address that from the person who sends you the link to the recording. And if they can't answer your question, they'll pass it on to me, and I'll be happy to answer it as well. And yeah, we're keen to be as approachable as possible and to answer any questions you might have.
I just want to thank Nina, because it makes such a difference, I think, when we have a law student coming along. So thank you, Nina, for coming and contributing. Thank you. It makes a difference.
Alrighty, excellent. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the participants that showed up.